There's a new man in charge in Las Vegas. Marvin Menzies takes over a powerhouse program looking to climb back to the top of the Mountain West. Menzies takes over at UNLV after a very successful run at New Mexico State. UNLV went 18-15 last season, 8-10 in league play, good enough for a 6th place finish. The Rebels did advance to the quarterfinals of the Mountain West tournament last March. UNLV does return 1 starter and 3 letter winners from a year ago. Joined now on set by the head coach of the Runnin Rebels, Marvin Menzies, Uche Ofoegbu, and Jalen Poyser of the Runnin Rebels. Appreciate you guys making some time. Coach Menzies, let's start with you. You take over this program and immediately had to start getting guys to the program. Couldn't even put a starting 5 out on the floor, but you did a great job in getting guys that fit the Runnin Rebel program. How much of a challenge has it been for you hitting the ground running from the moment you were introduced as the head coach?
You know, it's been a challenge, but it hasn't been like I did my research. You know what I mean? I knew what we were getting into. Today it's still just as great an opportunity as it was before I took over, and we're excited about the guys we brought in. Really passionate guys. You know, guys that love basketball and high character kids. So, you know, when you go to work every day and you get a chance to hang out with some fine men like this, it's you know, makes you feel good about the profession you chose.
You've been around some of the great head coaches in college basketball history, and you're no stranger to the Mountain West. You spent some time with Steve Fisher. You spent some time at UNLV with Lon Kruger. You spent some time at Louisville with Rick Pitino. How have each one of those coaches kind of molded you and made you the successful coach that you have been in your career as a head coach?
Well, how many hours do we have for this segment here?
We've got about 1 minute for this.
Okay,
answer.
all right. Well, I'll just give you the Cliff Note version then. Basically, each one of those guys is still a very much important figure in my life today. Great mentors, taught me a lot, picked up different things from each one of them, and have utilized those lessons to formulate the plan and the system that we have today, and that's what we'll implement here in Vegas.
Uche, coach comes in and you ultimately are a graduate transfer from San Francisco. Why did you decide, you know what, that's a place I want to play? They're looking for some guys, some high-level guys that fit a program, that achieves at a high level, that expects a high level, got a new head coach. Why did all of those components go into your decision to say UNLV is the place for me?
Oh, you know, just I looked at Coach Menzies' track record, you know, see what he's done with New Mexico State. You know, I wanted to be a part of the tournament for my last year, going around, and he's had great success in getting there. UNLV has rich tradition from teams in the past, from the Larry Johnsons to the Stacey Augmans, and going to the Final Four and win the national championship. And, you know, Las Vegas is just a great city. You know, fan base is just as good as anybody in the country, and I just wanted to be a part of that, you know, be a part of what he's starting here at UNLV.
You play in an iconic building in the Thomas and Mack Center. You've got a great practice facility in the Mendenhall Center, and a rabid fan base that supports the Runnin Rebels through thick and thin. Jalen, you're a guy that played last year, that did come back. How different is it from a year ago today as far as the way that things are run and the outlook on Rebel basketball?
It's just a lot. It's very family oriented. Everyone's buying in. You know, there's no egos on the team. We're putting ourselves before individual goals. Obviously, everyone has individual goals, but we're always putting we before me, and you know, that's our motto going into the year.
You did have some experience out on the floor last year. Have teammates that are new to the program looked to you for advice on how things are going to be and what game day is like at the Thomas and Mack Center and things like that? Because you're one of the few that actually have lived it.
You know, I just want to, you know, shed some of that knowledge with the younger core, because, you know, we have a young core. And, you know, you're taking up on a leadership role where you're able to teach the young guys what they're about to expect. You know, the game's different from high school, the physicality's different. And, you know, you're able to help the guys get prepared for what they're about to experience.
Coach, to build this program quickly and in the way that you did, you had to go the transfer route and a couple of fifth-year guys. You got Uche, but you got another guy in Christian Jones from St. John's, who probably a natural 4, could play a 5. How does he fit in, and where do you ultimately see him making an impact for the Runnin' Rebels?
Well, let me first say, if we could bring 3 guys, Chris would have been the next guy in line. I had to make a choice here. So, but I love him. I think that from a basketball standpoint, he's a man's man. You know, he plays physical basketball. He's a great kid to coach. He's a sponge. He obviously is at a stage of his career where he wants to play professional basketball when this chapter's done. But he's a rebel right now, and he's acting and performing like a rebel. And so that was critical to me in the recruiting process, that they wanted to be rebels before they wanted to be pros. And both Uche as a 5th-year transfer and Christian have that quality. So it's helped our younger guys a lot.
In addition to transfers, you had to go out and you want to build your program, and ultimately you do that with freshmen. And Shekna Dembele, a guy that a lot of teams around the country wanted, including Michigan State and Syracuse, had interest. He's a kid from Africa. How did you ultimately find him, and what will he bring to you as a freshman?
Right. Well, you know, Shek his nickname is Shek, and Shek has a lot of strong physical attributes from that center position. I'm hoping to continue to develop his game so he can do some more things, you know, maybe from 15, 16, 17 feet in the end as his career unfolds. But right now, that's who he is. He's a back to the basket, athletic, shot blocking, you know, guy that can run the floor. He's recovering right now, doing some rehab from a foot injury. But I think once we get him back healthy and get him into the mix, I think he'll be able to contribute, you know, this season and definitely be in the playing rotation.
Jalen, one of the reasons you come to UNLV, not only to play for a historic program, but to get out there and play some of the big names in college basketball. And UNLV has always done a great job of going out there and scheduling very aggressively. And I look at your schedule, non-conference this year, it includes Duke, Kansas, Oregon. There was some historic game back in the day between Duke and UNLV. How much do you look forward to taking on the Blue Devils, and what will bring back a lot of great memories of what happened with UNLV basketball in the late 80s, early 90s?
You know, growing up as a kid, you watch a lot of those teams, the Dukes, Kentuckys, UNLVs. It's just a great opportunity to be in. Also looking forward to that game because, you know, as a kid I used to watch them, and now being able to play with that team is just a dream come true.
Uche, to be on the ground floor of what is a rebuilding process and be a leader, a guy that's played a lot of college basketball, how much is on your shoulders to kind of teach some of the younger guys, not necessarily the Runnin' Rebel way, just the college basketball way? Do you kind of look at yourself as a teacher on the floor from that standpoint?
Oh yeah, definitely. I see myself as a part of the extended, you know, coaching staff. Feel like me, what I went through in college basketball, you know, my moments in college can really help the young guys, you know, mature at a faster rate. Just as a leader in general, that's what you do. You know, you help guys that need to be helped. You know, you point them out in the right direction.
This summer, Jalen, you guys took a trip to the Bahamas to play some games and do some team building exercises. You scored 28 points in the final game. What did you learn about your teammates, both off the floor and on the floor, that gives you a ton of hope and optimism that this team could be very good when it hits the floor?
I mean, we still have a lot of learning to do. We're not at a place where we can settle. The Bahamas trip was a trip where we were able to learn a lot with each other on and off the floor, gelling, you know, really becoming one family. And like I said, you know, you can't win with one person. It's a team effort, and you know, we're getting better every day. The Bahamas helped us, you know, get us a step ahead of other teams because we got an opportunity to go on an international trip, and it was fun. You know, we learned a lot, and now we're just in practice, grinding, getting better every day, and still learning each other's game and, you know, fitting coach's style.
It's not uncommon, Coach, to take those sorts of trips for a college basketball season or a college basketball team, whether it be, you know, overseas or to the Bahamas, to Europe. Maybe this more than anytime, that probably had to be more special for you because it was a brand new team. You were all trying to figure out your way in this program. Did that trip have even more of a special meaning than maybe some of the others you've taken in your career?
Oh, there's no question. The timing was impeccable. I mean, for us to have the opportunity to take this trip with a brand new staff, with brand new players, it was you know, you couldn't write a better script for this. Our Runnin' Rebels Club, our group that supports us on campus, our booster group, they were able to take care of the whole trip for us. So the things like that, I wasn't able to afford at the other places I've been. Was just one of those indications of the things to come here. And again, the timing, not to rehash and piggyback too much on what Jalen said, though, I thought it was a great time for our guys just to hang out and just get to know each other and each other's tendencies and likes and dislikes. And we got everything that I saw on the trip. I could look back at the trip and go, well, these little blemishes are great because we can fix all of them. I didn't notice anything that didn't happen that I say, oh man, this is going to be a challenge this year. A couple guys come late, to a meal or something like that. Now they understand that's a priority for me, not being late. And I will tell you how to discipline, but they understand now.
Well, appreciate you guys making some time. We'll see how it translates out on the basketball floor when the Runnin Rebels open up play against South Alabama on November 11th. Appreciate your time, and good luck to the Runnin Rebels this season.
Thanks for having us.